Hello, Chem 161 students. Today we'll be going to do the chemical formulas experiment. So here are the general materials for this experiment. We'll start off with a stir hot plate. You don't really need the stir function, but we're going to be boiling water, a beaker of water, um, some boiling chips that will be put in the water to cause some bubbling, some zinc, some hydrochloric acid, 6 molar. So this is a very strong acid, so we got to be careful with it. A graduated cylinder to measure out 10 mils of hydrochloric acid. I've already poured that out to make it convenient. A ring stand in the back, a Bunsen burner, evaporating dish, our clay triangle, and our ring loop, similar to the sublimation experiment where we use that. So let's get started. So the lab initially asked us to heat up that porcelain plate for 5 minutes to get any residual water off of it and make sure that it's dry, right? So I've already done that for you on the side, so we don't bore you with the details, but here I have my balance. So let's first weigh out the mass of the empty evaporating dish. So the mass of the empty evaporating dish is 48.020 grams. Now they want you to find the mass with the zinc metal next. I've already pre-rated to 0.506 grams. Let's see if that's about the same if we pour that in. So the mass of those two together are 48.529 grams. It's a little more than, but it's around the same. So this experiment is very quick and straightforward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that zinc and we're gonna react it with HCl. Now this can be a very rigorous reaction, so we wanna be careful. And so I want you guys to see it. So let's see if I can angle this camera a little better. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so hopefully you can see the zinc metal a little better. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna add our 10 mils of 6 molar HCl to this reaction. Now it's gonna sizzle a little, so we gotta be careful. It's also gonna create hydrogen gas vapors, so we gotta be very careful with doing this in the hood. All right, so let's pour that slowly in. As you can see, a reaction is occurring. Zinc chloride is starting to form. As you can see, it's a pretty rigorous reaction with zinc and HCl. So for my safety, I'm going to close this hood a little bit. And you can still kind of see it bubbling. I know, again, the resolution is not that clear, but you can still see that a reaction is occurring. So we are going to let that react for the manual says until the bubbling has ceased. And once the bubbling has ceased, we are going to put that over boiling water to steam off any HCl gas that is left over. Now, you don't want to use a Bunsen burner because HCl will catch on fire and is explosive, right? So on the side here, I'm starting to boil water for that part of the reaction, right? Or that part of getting rid of HCl gases, right? So we'll let that sizzle. And when that's finished sizzling, I will come back. Okay, so I've allowed almost all the zinc to react. It's still bubbling a little bit, but as you can see, there's very little zinc left there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna allow it to finish the reaction on the hot plate with boiling water. I'm gonna get that boiling water going. I threw in some of the boiling chips in there. Now the point of the boiling chips is to have a nucleation site, so the water boiling is not so rigorous or unpredictable, and so it causes the bubbles to come out of the boiling chips. And so those are in there. So when that water starts to boil, I am gonna put the zinc and HCl mixture on top there. So let's give it a second to boil. Okay, so as you can see, the water's starting to boil a little bit. It's not on a rolling boil yet, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just place it on here anyways and just get the this portion started so we can start getting rid of the HCl by using the steam to heat up the solution. So we're gonna leave it like that, and we're gonna come back. I'm gonna come back in a couple minutes. For you guys, it's gonna be quick like usual, but I'll be back. Oh, just a quick update just to show you what's happening. The water is actually boiling. The boiling chips are creating the nucleation site for the bubbles, as you can see down there. And so HCl is basically being steamed off by the water steam, right? And so HCl gas should be evaporating now. It's very hard to see that evaporation occur, but HCl gas, most of it will be evaporated. And so we'll come back when we want to continue to the next step. Okay, so I believe the evaporating dish has been boiling long enough to get rid of most of the HCl, so it won't be as explosive. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this off, and then we're gonna carefully transfer this evaporating dish to our, sorry about that, to our setup where we can now boil off the residual water in the reaction and be left with just zinc chloride in that reaction. So let's clean up a little bit and take these things away really quickly. Okay, and let's move this a little bit forward. Oh no, we'll just leave it so we can see both of them. So I'm gonna start my Bunsen burner and we're gonna boil off any residual water. So let's take a look at the reaction right now. Just looks like some like whitish liquid right in there. And so we're gonna boil off the water and any residual HCl left on the Bunsen burner. And so again, we will turn on our gas, get this Bunsen burner lit. And so we want to use an orange flame because a blue flame is a little too hot and we don't want to overheat it. So again, I am going to stop here and I will come back once all the water has evaporated. Okay? So just wanted to show you guys a quick update on where it's been so far. Besides burning my porcelain dish, which it happens, you can see most of the water has been evaporated, not all yet, but you can see the zinc chloride, right? Zinc chloride is a white powder rather than like zinc metal was just like a, you know, solid, right? And it's silverish in color, right? So I'm gonna let that boil for a little bit longer so that we can boil off any more of the residual water and hopefully not burn my evaporating dish too much. But point is it's working. Okay, so I'm gonna do my first weighing. It looks relatively dry without it becoming a paste yet. So I'm gonna take the first weight in the back here for 1 second. Let me turn this flame down for a little bit. And the mass I got is 49.076. Okay, I got 49.076. 49.076 grams. Okay, let's warm it up for a little bit longer. And we're gonna take a second mass just to make sure we got all the water off. So if, the theory is if we warm it up for like, or you know, put the Bunsen burner on it for another 30 seconds, if all the water's gone, it should weigh the same mass, right? If it's not gone, then we would have a lower mass than we had for the last trial. I think for the online portion at least, or how this experiment is going to be done, is you're just going to do different starting weights of zinc chloride, but I'm just going to show the 0.5 gram one. Your TA would require you to do more. Okay, so I'll be back once in like 30 seconds. Okay, 30 seconds has passed. I am going to try to weigh it again to see if the mass is the same. And so I got 49.073. So I'm going to assume, sorry about that, guys, that it's around the same to where I'm not going to do a third one. So again, so we have the mass of the empty weighing dish. We have the mass of the, not weighing dish, evaporating dish, the mass of the evaporating dish plus the zinc metal. Then we did the reaction with HCl. We got rid of all the HCl in water. And this is the mass left over after the reaction is complete, the masses of that. So that's a zinc chloride in solution, right? And again, I will show you that it went from a metal, metallic metal to a kind of a whitish, brownish powder in solution. So that is now zinc chloride. Okay, that is it for this lab.